we're back, people. After a bunch of life, if y'all know what that means out there, stuff be happening. We are back. Your favorite sports podcast, roaming the airwaves, rolling with Ramos, is back. I happen to be the one that holds the last name Ramos. I would like to specifically, as I always do, like to thank my daddy for that one, Mike Ramos in heaven. I love you every holiday. I miss you dearly. Episode 152. Like we keep moseying on. We're gonna get to 160. Then we gonna get to 170. You don't want to see us when we get to 200 because we're not being nice. Whatever comes out of our mouths is not gonna be humble. It's just gonna be what it is. Episode 152. The pre-Thanksgiving special, but because before you go eat all that food tomorrow, what if I told you that I already had a sample? It's hard not to be in this kitchen, especially when your mama's in town. But before you gobble gobble, get you some football tomorrow, be with your family, shout out to your favorite cousins. We gotta give you some sports. Now, Tristan, first of all, hello. Two, what does this got to do to get some dumplings?
Sorry, forgot I had my mic off because I got my little one by me. No, we're gonna be real traditional this year. My my folks are actually out of town, so they can relax. So my mom didn't have to cook.
Oh,
Um, so I'm spending time with my extended family, my wife's family, and we're gonna have a nice traditional Thanksgiving. So no dumplings this year, but that's okay because my mom, she normally does most of the cooking and she deserves the break. So I'm glad that she gets to sit around and other people cook for her. So let her enjoy her time being out of town with dad and enjoying themselves. So that's what I'm happy for them on that.
Awesome and amazing. But Party still wants those darn dumplings. anyway, anyways, let's mosey on down to talk about something real quick, shall we? The first time since his 10-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy, Justin Tucker, Tristan, has a tryout. The New Orleans Saints are going to work out Tucker, the veteran place kicker, after Blake Group missed 2 of his 3 field goal attempts in a loss to the Atlanta Falcons last Sunday. Saints head coach Kellen Moore spoke about Tucker's tryout on Monday. He's been one of their leaders for an extended period of time on a very successful team, Moore said. Obviously, there's been some staff that's been unfortunate. There's been some stuff that's been unfortunate. He's gone through an experience, and I think it's about collecting what that experience was. Tucker accepted, as you guys all remember, the league's lengthy suspension, which was 1 game less than that of Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson, who was involved in a similar situation in 2022. The Saints would go on to sign Cade York. Instead, York appeared in 5 games last season for the Bengals, making 9 of 11 field goal attempts with a long of 59. Okay, Tristan, so you serve a suspension. Things happen. You try to make your way, I guess, back into society because you paid your restitution already. Before his conduct incident, Tucker was revered as one of the best kickers to ever play the game. How do we feel about him trying to come back? And can he get back to that? Will he ever be revered as that again?
I don't know if he'll be revered the way he was in Baltimore. Um, I don't know. Listen, one thing, there's a couple things when it comes to this country that are like kind of like absolute no-nos, like you really can't do, you're almost like a pariah. One of them um is being any kind of any kind of a deviant messing with children. Another one is being any kind of person that is dealing with um any kind of sexual abuse, domestic violence, anything of that nature. So you're talking about going into a space where your name has been kind of put through the ringer with all the allegations that have gone on. I think the case is still like ongoing, so there hasn't been any kind of like resolve towards it. And this is what you're dealing with. Like, nah. If he gets a job, that's going to be something interesting. Um, but as far as how we looked at him, how we viewed him, you can't. There's just no way. It's the same way like Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was at one point a darling for the NFL, and now we don't know what to say about him. So I just can't see how he would be. I can't see how he would be any different than the Deshaun Watson situation. Like Deshaun Watson is still looked at as a pariah, so I can't see how it would be any different for Justin Tucker. And it's unfortunate because you're talking about an uh, all-time great kicker in him. So it's just kind of unfortunate that that's the scenario that you're running into. Um, Trying to get Mikkel situated, just having some technical issues, but we're getting her right. But yeah, again, you're having these conversations and you're wondering, you know, who's going to even take the chance. We know who he is and how he is as a player, but who's honestly going to be taking the chance to try to get him situated as far as being a member of the team, knowing that your team is going to get asked questions, players are going to get asked questions, coach is going to get asked questions. It could be a lot of different distractions um, for the franchise. So you got to be mindful of that, and these are things that you got to be careful with. And I know that if he does get it, if he does get spoken to or anything like that, then there's a possibility, that you know coaches and stuff will have the ability to talk through it and have an understanding and be able to navigate it. But I know we talk about America being a land of second chances, but man, when your image is put through the ringer like that, I don't know what you could possibly do um, to kind of salvage that. It's just kind of tough. So I think we got our star back. Hey, Mikkel, you back with us?
I'm back. I don't know what happened.
I'm not sure, but technology is technology. It's all good. We keep the show flowing. Basically, just to make a long story short, I was saying, he's probably going to get the same treatment as Deshaun Watson. Just that kind of, you're kind of looked at as a pariah. I mean, we know he's a great player, but even before all the allegations started coming in, he was having struggles. Remember, he wasn't the same Justin Tucker, so we don't know if he'll even get a job.
Well, we're going to be looking to see what happens with that. We move on, shall we? And this brings us to Shador Sanders, Tristan.
Yeah.
Needed passing 9 yards and a touchdown to help Cleveland to a 24-10 victory over the Raiders. The fifth straight loss for Las Vegas. The Browns, 3-8, ended a 3-game skid while starting their 42nd quarterback since the franchise's return in 1999. Sanders replaced fellow rookie Dylan Gabriel, who's in the concussion protocol, and ended a 17-game losing streak by Cleveland quarterbacks making their first start. Browns coach Kevin Stefanski. Tristan, we'll talk about him a little bit more later on. He said he wouldn't commit to sticking with Sanders as a starter when Cleveland hosts San Francisco next Sunday. I'm not going to get into that, Stefanski says. Proud of him and proud of this offense. There are a ton of things to learn from, but I'm just going to worry about that today. Sanders' presence brought a bit of juice to this late November battle of bottom of the barrel teams. Deion Sanders, we all know who that is, his Hall of Fame father. He and current Colorado coach, he hugged his son before the game. When asked by a CBS sideline reporter before the game what Browns fans should hope to see, Shador Sanders said, "I'm who they've been looking for." He was just confident afterward. A lot of people want to see me fail, and it ain't gonna happen. Sanders to victory. Tristan, first, speak to his performance, please.
Well, listen, I'm going to be as honest as I can be, because I am a fan of Shedeur. I've been a fan of Shedeur for a long time. So I'm going to be as honest as I can be. Shedeur Sanders' performance was a solid performance considering the circumstances that he was dealing with. Solid performance. What do I mean by solid performance? Shedeur Sanders was 11 of 20, 209 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The interception that was thrown was, it was a teachable moment that you could teach of how to kind of look off your defender. The pass rusher made a great play, dropping back into coverage on that route when he recognized it, and that's something that he's going to learn in time. The rollout to the right, rollout to the right with Shedeur Sanders was awesome. With the throw to Isaiah Bond, which I wish if Isaiah Bond was a little longer, a little taller, that could have been a not just a great throw, but his official first touchdown pass. If Isaiah Bond was a little longer, but a great throw right in the bucket. Had Max Crosby right in the barrel, no fear. He had some throws that you want him, you teach him how to make those throws a little better. He had some throws that you want him to take back, but he also had some really good throws. He showed a lot of poise. He showed his progressions. You can see him trying to progress, with his reads. I think what he said best was his post game when he said this was off of 1 week of practice, and yeah, like it wasn't an all world showcase, and it was against the Las Vegas Raiders, who are abysmal. I mean, abysmal. Like, so we get that. But at the same token, again, for him to get 1 week's worth of practice of full reps, and for him to have that kind of showcase, I could just only imagine what it will look like once he really gets acclimated, once he sees more of different coverages, different skies. I was really encouraged by the performance I saw. And let me be clear about this with Shedeur Sanders. The reason why Shedeur Sanders, outside of him being Shedeur Sanders, the son of arguably one of the greatest athletes, not even just football players, but one of the greatest athletes to ever touch the earth. The reason why Shedeur Sanders was getting the shine and the love that he's been getting, or the attention that he's been getting, is because when you take a look at the totality of Shedeur Sanders' career, between him in at Trinity Christian, I believe that was the high school, going to Jackson State, going to Colorado, he has been groomed and primed to be this player. He's been groomed and primed by his daddy of how to handle things on the field, how to handle things off the field. One thing they talked about with Deion Sanders wasn't just the fact that he was this great athlete, wasn't just the fact that he was this great football player, but another thing that was described about Prime was the fact that he was such a student of the game. He was so disciplined, such a disciplined player. And he instilled all that wisdom, all that discipline, all that care into Shedeur. So the confidence, the bravado that you see with Shedeur is someone that comes in because he feels that he is prepared to be in this spotlight. He's prepared to be in this space. His father groomed him to be in this space. It's not him. Here's the thing that I don't like, and I'm not even going to say it's really a racial thing, but I think it's a cultural thing. We were raving about Jackson Dart with the New York Giants, and I'm a fan of Jackson Dart. I'm a fan of Cam Skattebo. I like players that got swagger. That's why I was a big fan of Baker Mayfield. I like players that got moxie, that got some swagger to them. We cheered, or I should say the people cheered about Cam Skattebo and Jackson Dart and all the so-called swagger, the moxie. Even with J.J. McCarthy over there in Minnesota, same thing. But then we have Shedeur here who has the same kind of bravado, has the same kind of confidence, and yet I'm hearing everybody talking about he needs to humble himself. He needs to understand this is why he got selected in the 5th round, because look at his arrogance. If I know that I'm prepared to do the job, if I've done my part to work, and do the job to the best of my ability, I am going to be confident in what I'm doing. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Yes, you got to be a little humble. You got to show some humility. Yes, but who said he wasn't? Who said he hasn't been humble? Every time I see cameras and shots of him with his teammates, all his teammates seem to get along with him. They all seem, because he's down to earth. He's like a big kid. He's literally a big kid playing football in the National Football League. The reason why you got so many people that gravitate towards him, because even though he has that confidence and bravado about himself, you could tell he's a welcoming space. And this is not a shot to Dillon Gabriel or nothing. God bless him. It's not a shot to that. This is more so for the NFL to understand that you have to let these kids be who they are. You want the best out of them, you got to let them be who they are. Yes, is there a certain temperance? Yes, if there's a certain level of control, yes. But Shedeur is not one of those people that needs that kind of handcuffing, because he's been groomed to do this by one of the best ever. Not just a regular NFL dad. Not just a guy that had a couple Pro Bowls. He's not just a guy that's even just another Hall of Famer. This is someone that is one of one in the history of the NFL. He is one of one. There's only certain players where you talk about them being one of one. Dion is one of them. Bo Jackson's another one. Lawrence Taylor's another one. There's just certain guys. Jerry Rice, another one. There's certain guys where they are one of, and his daddy just so happens to be one of, and he has been taught by that man to be ready for this. So no, he doesn't need no temperance. What you need to do is invest in him, let him learn, let him grow, and see what you're getting out of this. See if he's going to be the quarterback of the future. And I have all the confidence in the world that he can do it. Now, is he going to be that person in Cleveland? I don't know, because I don't know how the Cleveland organization feels about him. But do I feel he can do it? Absolutely. And we're still battling some technical things, but again, like I said, you have to give him the opportunity to be who he is. You have to give him the opportunity to ball. You have to give him the opportunity to be who he needs to be for the Cleveland Browns. And let's be honest. Who have the Cleveland Browns had to warrant them to be any kind of way but grateful that you get someone like Shedeur? When was the last time you saw a player like that? And I'm not just talking about players playing well or having good players, because of course you got the Myles Garretts of the world, you got the Joe Thomases of the world, you get you had the Joe Haydens of the world, you had Josh Gordon for those couple years. You had some good players. So I'm not saying it like that, but when's the last time you saw, like, at the quarterback position? That is the thing. At the quarterback position. When was the last time we saw something like that from the quarterback position? So we need that. We need that kind of person. We need that kind of if I'm Cleveland, I'm investing everything I can to make sure that I got what I need to get from that. I'm making sure that I'm doing everything I can to invest in this kid, because if he can be anything and everything that we saw, if he can be that, sky's the limit. Sky is the limit. And so I just feel like we gotta be better with that. We gotta be better about how we are with these players coming out of the league, how we're dealing with them, how we handle them, what we want them to do, what we don't want them to do, like all those things. We gotta do it. We got to do it. And for me, there's no reason he should have been in the 5th round. Was he warranted to be number 1 over Cam Ward? Time will tell. Was he worthy of being a 1st round pick? I think so, but time will tell. Was he worthy to be like a second overall pick? Time will tell. But I think he was a late 1st round. Could have been an early 2nd round, would have been acceptable, would have been just fine. But to have Shedeur go all the way to the 5th round for what? What did you see? And I said this all the time. I've said this all the time. I've said this numerous times. What do you want? What do you want your quarterback to do? Let's take out all the flash, take out the speed, big arm, all that stuff. What is it that you want your quarterback to do? You want him to be able to process information pre-snap, process it post-snap, be able to manipulate the pocket, be able to manipulate defenders with their eyes and make them see and make the necessary throws. Can he throw at every single level? Can he throw at all three levels? Can he throw from at the line of scrimmage? Can he throw in the middle? Can he throw? Can he throw in the hash? Can he do everything in timing? Can he do everything in precision? All of those qualities were qualities that Shedeur Sanders showed all through his college career. The only thing I ever had as an issue for Shedeur when it came to him playing the quarterback position was that he always felt like a play could not die. And he would hold on to the ball and he would take unnecessary sacks because he always felt like he could make a play. That is the only issue I've ever had with Shedeur Sanders. The only issue. When it comes to playing quarterback, he knows how to play quarterback. So if he can eliminate the whole holding on to the ball too long, drifting back, and all that, which he showed improvement in the Raiders game, so clearly he can get it out of his system. If he could do that, he'll be just fine.
I'm holding on to dear life with my Wi-Fi, America. So if this show doesn't look to our most quality, we might have to scrap it because I refuse to give you mediocre things. And two, I got to be making sure I can see him and hear him. I can't see a thing. So you can see me now. So we're going to keep it pushing. Or maybe we just going to keep going in and out of this. I'm trying to give you some good content here. Again, I'm fighting for my life. Tristan, you know who else wants to humble Shedeur? It seems like Kevin Stefanski does too. He did not give a game ball to both of his rookie quarterbacks after their first career wins, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur. Gabriel's first win was week 7, Shedeur's being week 12. He emphasized team in both post-game speeches. Now, we do all know that Dillon was first team playing with the first team and getting reps when Shedeur was on the sideline. Maybe this is just a cover-up. How do you feel about Stefanski not giving him the game ball? And also saying,
So what I got with Stefanski with the game ball situation, he kind of highlighted that it's more like team concepts, even though it's inconsistent. So I think if anything, if I had to blame him is with inconsistency. I think for me is he's trying to downplay or not downplay, but he's trying to he's trying to downplay the whole he's trying to downplay the entire Shedeur phenomena. I think that's what he's doing. And what at the same token, I think by him doing it, he's put himself in such a position where people are not vibing with what he's doing because it's like Shedeur's obviously better player. And still time will tell. We don't know for certain, but right now it looks like Shedeur is at least just more polished to play the position. And so when you're in that kind of situation like that, now you're like, okay, I don't know what to do as far as dealing with Shedeur. So I'm just going to make him be another player. Like he's not going to be bigger than the team. He can't be bigger than the team. So which I totally understand. Exactly. He's going to be a part of the program, which I totally understand that. That totally makes sense to me. So I still question things, and I think if Stefanski could do this over again, I think he would have handled it a lot different. Because of the backlash he got from it, I think he would have handled this a lot differently. But I think Shedeur can rise above it. So just let Stefanski do what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. I mean, he is a 2-time coach of the year. I just think he's in uncharted waters right now in regards to handling 2 rookies and handling a rookie as higher profile as Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, you never had this in his stratosphere. So if I give both of them the game ball, what does that mean for everybody else in the background? Speaking of everybody else in the background, Las Vegas, Tristan, allowed 20 sacks over the past 3 weeks. In this game, Myles Garrett had 3. He now has 18 sacks this season to break his own franchise record of 16. He set twice. With 6 games left, he needs 5 sacks to break the NFL record of 22 and a half set by Michael Strahan in 2001 and TJ Watt. Garrett has 14 sacks over the past 5 games, the most in a 5-game span since sacks became an official. Pro also had 2 forced fumbles, 4 tackles for loss, and 6 quarterback hits on Sunday. That's the thing I'm excited about, Garrett said. That puts a smile on my face. The franchise record, I kind of expect that of myself. I continue to set the bar high and higher. Speak of regards of his consistency and dominance, Tristan.
Myles Garrett is 1 of 1, man. I mean, he's an absolute unit. You know, I mean, just physically when you look at him, I mean, it's imposing. I mean, it's like, you know, when you play Madden and you created your player and you souped your player up, like you know, you made your player look like he was something. That's what Myles Garrett is. Myles Garrett is a created player on Madden that got souped up. Like, but he could ball. Like, it's not just looks. It's like, nah. Like this physique got motion. You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna destroy that record. I mean, there's no question about it. Like, Michael Strahan was on his show, was on the broadcast for Sunday, and he said, you know, hey, you know, sack record, it was nice knowing you. Like, he knows it's going down. So I mean, it's not a matter of
that was nice of Michael Strahan to say.
He knows. I mean, when you see somebody that's on a tear like that, there's nothing stopping him. So, because I think he had didn't he have like 5 in one game? I think it was like the game before this one, or like 2 games prior, and then have 3 in this one. Like, he's not going to be denied. And I think looking at some of the upcoming games, like the 49ers offensive line hasn't been that great, so he has a chance to get a couple sacks there. Then he's going against the Bears offensive line. I think I gotta look at the next 4 games, but like, their lines are not. There's no line that's daunting where I could say he might have some trouble. Like, it's gonna be a Myles Garrett record-setting season on his way to getting Defensive Player of the Year. And depending how many sacks he gets by the time this season's over, you might have to put him in the consideration of MVP. I understand what the record is for the team, and I understand the MVP is normally a quarterback-friendly award, but outside of Matt Stafford, there's nobody really like head above shoulders in that MVP race. So you have to at least, for sure he's getting Defensive Player of the Year, but you probably got to consider him for the MVP as well, depending on what the number of sacks he ends up with.
Shout out to Michael Strahan. Normally, when we talk about records and their predecessors, those guys get a little funny about them. That's nice. He was able to say, hey, take it, man. I had it. I appreciate the game continuing. Go ahead and do it.
And I'm gonna give a little love. I'm gonna give a little love to Mike Gastineau, because I understand that Brett Favre did take a little dive for Mike to get that record. So I'm gonna show a little love to Mike Gastineau as well. Shout out to the what was the team? The Jets. Mike Gastineau. Yep. Shout out to them.
The Jets. You know, Tristan, we enjoy a nice NFC East battle every once in a while now, don't we? Typically, hopefully, we hope that we're on the other end of that. But the other 2 teams in the NFC East took that battle. And guess who came up on top? Matter of fact, you know who came up on top, because they ain't letting us not hear the end of it. This whole damn week. It's been a whole cowboy charade. They done came out of nowhere with posts and everything now. Where have you been? 24-21, the Cowboys beat the Eagles. We didn't play a complete game as a team. You're damn right you didn't, says Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts. They lost with a lead of at least 21 points for the first time since 1999 when Arizona beat the Eagles 25-24. It was the first win for Dallas when trailing by 3 touchdowns since the Cowboys beat the Rams 34-31 in 2014. The Cowboys converted on their third tie-breaking chance in the fourth quarter to extend Prescott's home winning streak against NFC East opponents to 11 in their first game at A&T Stadium since the death of defensive end Marshawn Nealon. Rest in peace. Dak Prescott, 23 of 36, 354 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick on the ground. He had 5 carries, 9 yards. He ran for 1 touchdown. He also topped Tony Romo's career franchise record for passing yards, ending with 34,378 total. He did that on a 9-yard pass to George Pickens on his first throw of the second half with Dallas down 21-7. Romo, the 10-year starter before Prescott's current run, that is just as long, had 34,183 yards passing. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. You can't win the game in the first quarter, second quarter, third, but you can win the game in the fourth quarter. I told them believe in each other and believe in the fact that we'll find a way to do it. You know, I never thought I'd say this. You know, I can't say this invigoratingly. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna scream it to the top of my lungs. I'm excited, but I'm not. This was a good game. Tristan, how about them Cowboys?
You ain't gonna hear me saying that. I refuse. Yeah, I refuse. Refuse. Listen, the only fans worse than Eagle fans are Cowboys fans, and for me, it's just like Eagles. Y'all had one job. You had one job, and you couldn't do it. You should have buried them, and you let them come back. Listen, man. I'm gonna give the Cowboys credit. George Pickens is a dog.
Dang, that was a long pause.
Because it's making me sick to my stomach. But George Pickens is a dog. George Pickens is a dog. I remember you and I were both upset when we found out that the Cowboys picked him up. Them having Quentin Williams, Overshown returning from injury. They're gonna have a couple more defenders turning from injury. So now the defense is not looking so abysmal as they did early on in the season. You know, they look like they got some life. They could possibly be the, you know, bend and don't break defense. You know, I'm not saying that they're going to be like top 10. They might be in the middle of the pack when it's all said and done. But let me give my credit to Dak Prescott, because Dak Prescott, if the defense was any bit decent early on in the season, Dak Prescott would be in competition with Matthew Stafford for MVP. Dak Prescott has been balling out of his mind. This is probably one of the best, probably the best we've seen of Dak Prescott really playing football. Like, he just looks like a man on a mission, not making the bonehead plays, basically putting the S on his chest, so to speak, when need be, being calculated about that. I mean, he's been looking sharp, man. Like I said, if the record was any better, if the defense played any better, we'd be talking about Dak Prescott and Matthew Stafford, you know, going neck and neck for the MVP right now, the way that Prescott's been balling. Listen, their schedule makes it possible for them to go for, you know, try to go on a run and, you know, get their way in the playoffs. And you know what happens in the playoffs is any person's game. Let's see if they can get the monkey off their back and winning a playoff game and getting themselves deeper to it. I don't think so with the defense again. You know, I think the Rams are the class of the NFC right now to get to the Super Bowl. But, you know, like I said, we'll see.
I'm about to say anybody's game in the playoffs, but is it ever the Cowboys game in the playoffs? Tristan, CeeDee Lamb, 4 receptions, 75 yards, 1 touchdown, 11 targets. George Pickens, talk about being a dog, 9 receptions, 146 yards, 1 touchdown. He was targeted less than CeeDee. He was targeted 9 times. The elevated play of George Pickens as a Cowboy And sometimes it's looked as if that he was their saving grace in a lot of situations. These impeccable, crazy catches that he's doing, like he's definitely found a home in Cowboy land. And everybody thought, well, how is CD and George Pickens gonna play together? Pickens not worried about CD. He's worried about himself. You Pickens.
Well, listen, I think right now it's safe to say George Pickens. Say it again. You broke up. I would say right now George Pickens is probably, I would put George Pickens as the number one receiver. I don't know what's going on with CD. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with CD. I don't know if it's lack of focus. I don't know if he doesn't seem distracted. I think he just has games where he's just not, it doesn't seem like he's like locked in. And I don't know what that reason could be. But I tell you what though, George Pickens is playing like the number one receiver. I think you would almost consider, Michael Irvin would almost consider like, man, should George Pickens and CD trade numbers and give George Pickens 88, because some of the plays he's made is playmaker-esque plays. When they need it most, Dak Prescott has been comfortable putting the ball in difficult spots for George Pickens to make a play, knowing that he will make the play. And probably like 8-9 times out of 10 this season, George Pickens has made the play. So, man, what an acquisition. And like I said, just, we're going to see how this comes along. I still don't think you trade away generational talents, but, Jerry looking kind of wise with what he did with trading Michael Parsons. He looking like he might have knew what he was doing. Now, again, I still don't think you trade away generational talents, and really, we're not going to know till like 2-3 years down the line to see if it ultimately pans out. But I would say right now, as of right now, I would say both teams benefited from the trade.
A.J. Brown scoffed at questions regarding his effort and energy levels this season, but he was quick to shoulder the blame for the loss to the Cowboys. I'm only talking about myself. I even had a false start. I've got to be on the same page, know the snap count. Overall, it was just self-inflicted wounds. When you're behind the sticks, that makes it very tough. We've just got to get better as a unit, including myself. He also lamented his first quarter touchdown reception that was negated by a scoring review. Brown made a clean catch and reached the ball out to the front pylon, but only got one of his 2 feet in bounds. That's on me, he said. I didn't get my feet down. Like I said, it's simple. But we all have things that we need to continue to work on. I did the hardest part. I just didn't do the easy part. The Eagles had plenty of culprits, Tristan, in Sunday's loss, from their 14 accepted penalties to some questionable play calling with a multi-score lead to fourth quarter fumbles by running back Saquon Barkley, his first of the year, and punt returner Xavier Gibson. Nick Sirianni speaking about what he needs to do as a coach and putting the game on him. You're hearing A.J. Brown's comment. It's refreshing on the part of accountability. At least it's better than saying this is a blank show. I'm not going to say that because it's a family show here. Winning masks it all, Tristan. When you're winning, you pay attention to these things, but you can kind of push them to the side. But in such a game as this one, how much is it comfortable to say that everything comes to light when it comes to light? Did the Cowboys game bring the Eagles' issues and comments more to the light?
I don't know if I would say bring it more to the light. I think it's just it just showed what everybody already knew, and this is the problem that I'm having with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is an intelligent person. A.J. Brown's not slow. AJ Brown knows what he's saying and knows the damage in what he's saying, what it could do to the team. Like he knows that. He knows that. So for me, it's like, bro, why are you even putting them in this kind of space? Why are you even putting them in this kind of position to operate like this? You don't have to do this. Like you don't have to be like this with this team. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's bothering me about it. Is you don't have to be so uh encryptive and saying the things that you're saying. You could easily squash this and say, hey, as a team, we got to get better. We got to, we got to work hard. We got to lock in. We got to make sure we have each other's backs, blah, blah, blah. Dead it. But everybody's encryptive, and so now it's forcing Jalen Hurts now to sound encryptive. And then Nick Sirianni, you're not really hearing him nip it in the bud at all. So it's just like, well, somebody's got to be the adult in the room. Somebody's got to be the adult in the room. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, no shade to Jalen Hurts, but now it just comes out when he says things. It just kind of sounds like hot air. Like somebody has to be the voice of reason to really get this thing around. And listen, we've seen this similar before, and they were able to pull it out and get on that run and end up winning the Super Bowl. We talked about it last year when they won the Super Bowl. No, the year before they didn't win the Super Bowl, but they were able to still kind of make some noise. But this team can't go as far as they want to go, which is a Super Bowl championship, the way that they're going. Saquon Barkley is not the same. AJ Brown is not the same. No. Devontae Smith is still balling. When it's called upon, he's there. And maybe he's the one that's got to be the voice of reason for it all. I don't know, but it's really starting to show its tail, and it shouldn't with a team that's so talented but looks so limited. Like I've never really seen that before. To have that many good players all around the football, but play so limited as if you don't. I've never seen that.
You know what it feels like? You know how sometimes in life we get accustomed to thinking that we can only get things if we struggle. If we work hard and we keep at it and we don't let up, that's the only way we can feel accomplished if it came with some sort of adversity. And sometimes things just can come easy. And the Eagles just sound like they just don't want it to come easy. It has to come with some type of toxicity or some type of sitting down at the podium saying this is what y'all wanted. Like it has to come with people thinking they can't or some type of adversity to it. Am I wrong in comparison?
No, you're not wrong at all. And like I said before, it really boils down to being the adult in the room. Somebody has to be the voice of reason to kind of gel this thing together. And I don't know what that's going to take, but someone has to be the person, because right now where they stand right now, how they're going, they're not going to be able to do anything with the way that they play and the way that they handle themselves as a team. It's almost like they don't even like each other. Like it's crazy.
Tristan, they're still in good shape. The Eagles to be the first repeat winners in the NFC East since they won 4 in a row from 2001 to 2004. Well, hey. There's no steel curtain. Is there a steel eagle? What's going on? Keep everything under the eagle. Keep everything under the wing.
Yep, that's really right. They're fortunate that they're dealing with a Giants team that's kind of trying to rebuild and figure out who they are. They still got to figure out a coach. A Washington team that is full of old players that all got hurt, and our star quarterback got hurt. And, the Cowboys that are just, it seems like they're just now starting to get their footing, but it might be a little too late. So they just in a fortunate spot where they could salvage what they're doing, because the division that we thought was going to be actually kind of competitive this season turned out not to be. Yep. Go ahead, Miguel. You still with us? Like I said, we dealing with a little bit of technical difficulties, so we're trying to map this out. I think the wind outside is crazy here in the DMV, and I think that's actually what's playing a part with this as well, because the wind is insane. We'll give her a couple minutes to see if she can if she get back. Like I said, we've been trying to get this situated. And like I said, due to the weather, it seems to be a little bit of a challenge. A little bit of a challenge. But this is technology. This is what happens, and we live, and this is what goes on. So let's see. Oh wait, she's back.
I'm not having a good night, America. But it's not about that. We're still gonna get this show done. I don't know what's going on. And we're gonna get it done early because we're finishing up. Because there's one last thing we got to talk about, Tristan. Sure. What a ride! Still so much left. Grateful for this last one. LA Clippers guard Chris Paul. All of our friends we grew up loving, Tristan, are leaving the game. Yeah. It's coming. Yeah. It's starting to come. It's already started. I looked at Mel. .40 is a 12-time All-Star. Chris Paul is retiring after this season, his 21st NBA campaign. An 11-time member of an All-NBA teams, a 9-time All-Defensive Teams member, the 2006 Rookie of the Year, and a member of the NBA's 75th anniversary team. Nicknamed the point guard. We know that. Paul is the NBA's active leader in assists and steals and is second all-time in both behind John Stockton. He has led the league in assists per game 5 times and in steals per game in 6 seasons. He averaged double-digit assists in 7 seasons. Selected with the 4th overall pick out of Wake Forest by New Orleans in the 2005 draft and has averaged 16.9 points and 9.2 assists per game over his career entering Saturday, which was when he announced his retirement. He and LeBron are the only 2 players, Tristan, in NBA history to reach both the 20,000 career points and 10,000 career assist milestones. 6 years with the Hornets. Famously, okay, so this is the part where we get a little bit upset. Famously voided trade to the Lakers. They didn't want him playing with Kobe. Ultimately, he landed with the Clippers, where he teamed up with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan in the birth of the Lob City era of the Clippers, which bought the franchise's longest sustained run of success. 6 years he was there. Houston, he went there as a Rocket to team up with James Harden. While the Rockets experienced great success in the regular season, they failed to have a postseason breakthrough, getting eliminated by the Warriors. Other stints includes the Spurs, the Suns, where he was able to get his first NBA Finals appearance. I was really hoping that he would have gotten that. They lost to the Bucks in 6 games. Ultimately, for me, I felt like his best place that he was, although he's been many places and had an impact, was Oklahoma City. We don't get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We don't get that Oklahoma City team looking how they're looking if it wasn't for the impact of Paul before then and teaching them how to put it together. Reunited with the Clippers in the offseason, he has appeared in 11 games. Damn, Tristan, so long, CP3.
Yeah, for sure. The point guard that we've all grown to love and enjoy. I think it is unfortunate that he never got a chance to win a championship with all that he's accomplished. That Laker trade void will always be a dark spot for us as Lakers fans. because what it could have been for a prime Kobe Bryant to pair up with a prime CP3. Um, yeah, I mean, I think he'll be one of the ones that has his jersey retired probably in multiple spots. I don't know. He was with the New Orleans Hornets, so I don't know if it's like, I know technically it's the Charlotte Hornets now and New Orleans Pelicans. So I don't know who would be I guess it would be New Orleans Pelicans will be the ones. I don't know who holds the history. So I don't know which one of the franchises will retire the jersey. And also the Clippers should also retire his jersey because we'll always remember Lob City. So I think he'll be one that gets his jersey retired in two different franchises. And yeah, man. I mean, like I said, shout outs to him. He's one of the greatest point guards ever. The point guard, as we called him. And I know a lot of younger people might not know the Chris Paul that we saw when he was in New Orleans because that was a dog. Even before the Lob City Chris Paul, New Orleans Hornets Chris Paul was a warrior. So kudos to him on an amazing career. I wish he could have gotten a title under his belt, but kudos to him on an amazing career nonetheless.
I think in a league where we have Kyrie Irvings and a whole bunch of other point guards of the league that naturally can shoot now or naturally are looking to shoot and pass, I think the point guard position in a shoot now in dimes. Chris Paul gave us that.
Yeah, I think what you see with these, like I guess you call them combo guards or point guards that can score prolifically. I mean, he was definitely, you've had other point guards in the past that were like that, but I think for him to be so cerebral, and to be the kind of player that he was, really set the tone for this generation of point guards that are out here now. Who knows if we would have gotten a Steph Curry. Who knows if we would have gotten a Dame Lillard? These kind of guys that have, obviously have taken the point guard position to the next level. But Chris Paul was kind of the one of the ones where you could put your best athlete was your point guard. It was kind of somewhat unheard of. I mean, I know we had like the Isaiah Thomases of the world and such that were great at that position, but Chris Paul really set a certain precedent with him being so cerebral, but also being the bucket getter when needed for his team.
The face of his team. We've had a lot going on tonight. America, thank you for still sticking with us despite my technical issues, but we still made a show. We got a Sienna appearance. We got a Stitch appearance. We got a lot going on. It's the day before Thanksgiving. Do people still say Thanksgiving Eve? No?
I have no idea. I said it today to somebody, but I don't know if that's a thing.
We getting old if you start saying stuff and don't even know if it's a thing.
Exactly.
America, we're going to figure out something for December because you got one more month of us before we start to see you in 2026. Can you believe it?
It's crazy.
It's crazy
how time has flown.
It was just January 2025. I want to know what my 2025 January self would say to my January 2026, but I have to wait to see what happens when I get there. Anywho, Tristan, you have a good Thanksgiving. America, you have a good Thanksgiving. Enjoy some football. Shout out to Detroit. This is going to be in the pack. This is going to be a good game. Hopefully it's a good game. And I'm going to say, like I said every week, I don't care if it doesn't rhyme. It's still mine. I'm Mikkel like Kevin McHale. America, peace.
Peace.